Hello everyone, hope you are all doing well. Welcome to something a little different compared to my regular content here on the channel. Today I wanted to go over the Splatoon Raiders info that was posted to the Splatoon Twitter accounts with you guys. I know I'm a little late talking about this stuff, but I wanted to share my own thoughts and speculation on this extra info not seen in the trailer. So, without further ado, grab some snacks, get comfy, and hope you enjoy my ramblings. Alright, first I want to talk about this tweet that was posted a day after the trailer dropped, and let's read the tweets, shall we? It says, "It turns out the Spearhalite Islands in Splatoon Raiders are packed with Salmonids, and the local variety is both more colorful and more vicious. We've even spotted a few types not found at all in other regions." And then the next tweet, as you can see, first new one here. "This meaty creature is called Salty Tongue. Take a guess why. We've confirmed it can extend its neck to bite, and it looks like it drops some kind of egg-like object." So I have some talking points that I wrote down for all of these tweets of just things I kind of wanted to talk about here. And first thing I want to talk about is this new type of Salmonid we see right in the middle of this picture right here. As you can see, it seems to be similar to just the regular chum enemy that we are used to seeing in Salmon Run and stuff. Just that this time, other than the frying pan, or I guess in this case, it was more like a skillet, I guess, an iron skillet that the chum has, it actually uses like tongs, as you can see. And it is very vertically, vertically challenged. As you can see, it's like looking upwards, right? I guess it's trying to straighten its back compared to these these Salmonids. But I'm looking forward to seeing what other new Salmonids we will be facing. Of course, in the trailer, I mentioned during my little analysis that there seems to be a new type of flying Salmonid that is similar to the drizzling capriccioso. I don't know how to pronounce the name, but the little drizzle, the sprinkler enemy that flies in a side order, we seem to have, its equivalent as a Salmonid now. So I'm curious to see what other new Salmonids there are. Hopefully everything we've seen isn't all that they have to show, so looking forward to the game there. Next thing I wanted to mention is actually how these Salmonids, as you can see on this picture right here, on their fins, they have like a lot of like salt on them. It would make sense that it's salt because the name of these islands where Splatoon Raiders takes place is called Spiralhalite. Still don't really know exactly how to pronounce it, but it's a play on spiral and halite, which halite being the natural mineral form of salt. So if this game seems to be themed, or at the very least these islands seem to be themed on salt, it would make sense that these Salmonids also have salt on them. Now why they have it, I don't really know. Some people have kind of mentioned that that white stuff is actually ick, which is actually a thing that happens to people who have little aquariums, little fishes as like pets. And if these fishes are kind of in a very very environment or aquarium, they seem to get this parasite that grows on them that seems to be, I think, a little white in real life. And it's a parasite and just makes them sick. So for those of you that have pet fish and have had this happen, or just know more than me, please correct me in the comments. But maybe the salt here in this game kind of plays a role, like a parasite sickness on the Salmonids called Ick. We do see in the trailer later on that we are fighting some more ferocious Salmonids with their eyes glowing. In the clip where we see we bring out Shiver and Master Mega for an attack, those Salmonids seem more frenzied, while they also seem to have more salt on their bodies. So I don't know if it's like the salt is something that powers them up, or it could just like power them up, or it could be like a double-edged sword where it is powering them up, but it's like covering their whole bodies and kind of taking over them. We'll have to wait and see. It's just speculation, but yeah. Again, back to the whole Spiralite name. We even see within the trailer that all the beaches of these islands seem to have like a bunch of salt like accumulating like on them, where the water ebbs and flows. Haha. But so a very salt themed game, it seems. Very, very salt themed. Now moving on to the salty tongue focus here, we actually you know, even the tweet mentions this, that it seems to drop a new type of like power egg. As you can see, it's like one big egg with multiple smaller power eggs inside of it. This actually isn't the first time we see this. We saw that in the trailer when it's showcasing the turret gadget, and you know, we killed the steelhead enemy, and it seems to drop this exact power egg, which is like one big power egg and smaller ones inside. As to what it does, not really sure. Maybe it could be a replacement to the golden eggs. You know, we aren't playing salmon around here. We aren't collecting golden eggs. So it might be a little different here in the case that maybe power eggs kind of work the same way they worked in the Splatoon hero modes, right? In the story modes, where they are kind of like currency. They are like the equivalent of coins in Mario. That's what the power eggs have kind of always been. In Salmon Run, they don't really mean much other than just generic points. But I think the power eggs this way, you know, in this game, will work in a way that lets us maybe buy some sort of things, some sort of currency we can do. Not exactly sure. We'll just have to wait and see. And yeah, we don't even know if golden eggs will appear here or not. So for now, that is it for these two tweets kind of that I wanted to talk about. So let's move on to the next one. So this next post is from April 23rd, and it reads, as a mechanic, you'll get gadgets to go along with your weapon loadout. Gadgets can do all sorts of things, like give you a fast moving attack or a turret, and typically reset on a cooldown. And then the thread continues here with a video, with this video saying, the Splatchet is a gadget that gives you a wide charging slash attack. It can carve right through Salmonids' armor. And then Salmonids sometimes drop gadget parts that you can use to upgrade or modify your gadgets in a wide variety of ways. Increase your gadgets' range, power, or abilities, whatever works for you. So going back to the main image here, we see this first one, which shows a bunch of different gadgets. You know, front and center, we get the Splatchet. On the far left here, we see that flip foam thing that we saw in the trailer, kind of that gives you that little ink barrier that surrounds you. And then we see the turret that is cutely modeled after like a stinger. It even has the fin and the new little hat that the stingers get in this game. But of course, we see five other gadgets. Most of these we actually haven't really seen what they do, but I wanted to kind of take this time. I wrote down some notes, and let's try to figure out maybe what these gadgets can do. Just speculate a little, you know? So let's get to it. So first, I want to start off by talking about this boot shoe gadget we see at the top right of this image. We see this a few times in the trailer, actually. Not being used, but attached to the mechanic's Inktank in the trailer. As to what this gadget might actually seem to do, I originally thought it was what gave us that little floating ability we see in the trailer when the mechanic jumps off of the bot buddy. As you can see, there's like crystals floating around at the bottom of the mechanic's feet. I assumed that was what this gadget was doing, but maybe that's just what the bot does after you jump off the bot. It gives you a little like floating ability with the salt crystals, you know, we see at the bottom there. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see if that's what this gadget does or if that's just part of the bot buddy. Let me know what you guys think, right? Next up, I want to talk about the propeller fan with hoses on the bottom right of the image. We actually saw this gadget back in the original reveal trailer. This was equipped on the mechanic's Inktank back then. We actually don't really see it. We actually do see it, actually. We actually see this gadget once in this newest trailer when Shiver kind of summons Master Mega and they attack. We see the mechanic kind of has this equipped onto their Inktank. My guess as to what this propeller does is maybe give you like a speed boost to your movement for a short period of time. You know, walking in like the humanoid form gives you a boost, kind of like what the Tacticooler does in Splatoon 3. You know, it just spins, the hose is shooting, kind of letting you move faster, kind of pushing you forward. Or maybe it kind of gives you some sort of like a little dash in a certain direction, kind of like what the Splat Dualies do when you do a dodge roll. Maybe that's what these fans do. Maybe it lets you do that with other weapons and not just a dually specific thing. But now that I think about it, this isn't in my notes, by the way. If you look at the image, right under the propeller fan, you see that there's actually a Splat like the Splat dually gun, like one of the Splat dually guns, right? So maybe this does actually seem to work like a sort of dodge roll, where it kind of just like pushes you, or like, you know, thrusts you out of the way of like certain enemies. Maybe it doesn't give you that like turret mode that the dualies have, but yeah, maybe it is like some sort of like quick maneuver sidestep ability that you can use, just another extra movement option to kind of get away from an enemy attack or just a group of enemies. We'll have to wait and see. Next up, I want to talk about this balloon thing that's above the splatchet on the image here. This ball balloon thing. We actually see this equipped to the Inktank when they showcase the turret in the trailer. Again, it's not being used anywhere in the trailer. This is just the one time we see it in the trailer. I really don't know what this could be. This one, along with these next three, kind of have me stumped as to what exactly they will do. My idea is like maybe it works as some sort of like floating mine in the air. You know, you throw it out and it floats in a certain spot. Maybe it moves a little bit, I don't know. But yeah, it floats in a certain spot. An enemy walks near it and maybe it activates, either exploding or maybe doing something else. Maybe it's not just an explosion, you know. Maybe it's more like a trap type of thing and like holds enemies in a certain spot. I don't really know. For these gadgets, let me know what you guys think, right? So let's move on to the next gadget. Now, the conch shell on the top left of the screen here seems to be attached. It's like a conch shell attached to a fizzy bomb, I think it is, like an uncharged fizzy bomb, right? So if the fizzy bomb in, you know, the Splatoon games, it's a bomb where the more you shake it, it like grows kind of like a soda ball, you know, a soda can. You shake it, you open it, it explodes. That's what the fizzy bomb is. So maybe this works in a similar way where you shake it and it does something. I feel like the conch shell kind of reminds me of like a nozzle of a gun. So maybe it does like the more you shake it, does like a one blast of a gun type of deal. I don't know. Again, these last three gadgets we're talking about really have me stumped. So let me know what you think this might be. We actually see this conch shell in the game's box art, right? It's one of the two gadgets that the mechanic has equipped there. Just a nice little detail there. But again, let me know what you guys think, what this does. If there's a sponge and a spatula equipped, these gadgets really are just a bunch of random trash compiled together. So it genuinely props to our mechanic character. They know how to make things out of random other things, you know? So now this last gadget I want to talk about here below the splatchet and the flip phone thing at the bottom of this image seems to be like a burst bomb kind of tied with some rope attached to this other thing. I don't really know what this is. This one I don't think even appears at all in the trailer. So let alone guessing what this is. Your guess is as good as mine. Let me know what you think this could be. Because I think I've run out of ideas for this gadget. Because, yeah, I don't know. The doohickey of all doohickeys, you know. And a quick thing that wasn't in my notes here I wanted to talk about is how with most of these gadgets, if not... Yeah, with most of these gadgets, except, I guess, the ball balloon thing, you could see that there's like this little glass like light bulb thing with these little spirit light shards that we see in the trailers, which kind of leads us to the thing that these spirit light crystals are what power these gadgets. It's some sort of power source. So looking forward to seeing what that is. And yeah, hopefully these aren't the only gadgets we see in the game, right? Hopefully there are more, but with the abilities that we're about to talk about right now, there's still probably a lot of things we could do with these gadgets. So back to the other tweets where we see actually some clips of the splatchet. I'm always thinking like Splatana, right? Because I mean the way it attacks and stuff. We actually see the abilities for the splatchet here on this last video that we are shown, and I wanted to talk about the abilities that we see here in this video. These abilities are specifically for being equipped onto the splatchet. So let's talk about these abilities real quick. So first, I want to talk about the abilities that are equipped currently in this video for the splatchet, and then we will talk about the other abilities that aren't equipped on the left side of the screen. So first, we'll focus on the ones on the right. So first up, of the abilities that are equipped to the splatchet currently in this video, the one at the top says charge in damage up. I assume that the way this works is you do more damage. That like tackle we see in the previous clip, kind of like a shoulder bash that the mechanic does before swiping the splatchet. I think that charge and damage is that attack. So that little shoulder bash just does more damage, all right, before you actually swing with the Splatshit. So as you can see, it says it does 35% more damage. So we'll have to see like the actual in-game description later. The next ability that is equipped to the Splatshit says slash area up. Now this one's a little bit more self-explanatory. I assume it just means your slash with the Splatshit is just bigger. It's a wider attack, right? Slash area up. The area of that slash is bigger, right? We don't see a description for it though, so we'll have to wait and see. But that's what I can assume. Next up, we have more charging in, which we actually see the description for in the video here. More charging in, the description says, increases number of times the character charges in. So, yeah, if we see on this in this video where you see the mechanic kind of charges in twice before doing the slash. Meanwhile, in the previous video, we see just one little shoulder bash and then the swipe. So, yeah, pretty cool. There are actually two versions of this ability we see in the trailer, right? The one currently equipped, as you can see on the top right, gives us two little charges in, and it takes up 4 slots. As you can see, there's like the slots here, 17 out of 22, right? So the one currently equipped does two dashes and takes up 4 of those slots for the Splatshit abilities. But the cursor on the left side showcases a different one that takes up 6 slots, and on the bottom right, we see the description. It mentions it does 3 charges in. So there are going to be different versions of each ability that might be a bit more powerful. So again, this one gives you that extra 3rd charge in while taking up more slots. So it's a bit more expensive, but you know, there is a payoff to it. You do 3 dashes in, so that's pretty cool. We'll see variety of abilities here for each gadget. The last equipped ability we see for the Splatshit is vertical slash, which we see in the main trailer and we see in this video here. It changes your horizontal slash with the Splatshit, you know, from a very like decapitator slash horizontal to a regular Splatana slash vertically. The description reads, primary slashes are performed vertically. In general, damage is increased compared to that of horizontal slashes. So not only does it change your slash from a horizontal to a vertical attack, but it seems to do more damage as well, which is pretty cool, right? You could change like the way you attack with certain gadgets, right? One thing to note before moving on though is that it mentions here primary slashes. The wording of that kind of alludes to maybe secondary slashes. Now this is just speculation on my part, but what if there is, you know, specifically in theory here, for the Splatshit, maybe there's like a separate ability that lets you do more than 1 slash per use of the Splatshit. So, you know, you can have vertical slash equipped, right? So your first primary slash is just a vertical slash, but then your secondary slash or tertiary slash, I don't know if that's the right word, a vertical slash and then 2 horizontal slashes, kind of like one big combo of attack every time you use the Splatshit. Maybe that could be an ability, but again, that's just speculation on my part. Maybe I'm looking too deep into this, and you know, this is just like a one-time thing. You change your attack from a horizontal to a vertical slash. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Now to the other abilities on the left side, where we'll focus on the abilities that are not equipped but are still on this screen, right? First up, I want to talk about this one that the cursor is hovering over currently that says Explosive Steps. We see the description of this ability on the bottom right. Creates an explosion when charging in. It takes up 4 slots and I guess does medium explosions. So compared to the little shoulder bash we see in the regular Splatshit videos we've come to just know, right? Maybe this kind of creates an explosion behind you. So like every time you do that shoulder bash, there's an explosion behind you as well. So that seems pretty cool, especially combining it with the more charging in. Maybe you have that ability more charging in with like 3 dashes, and every time you dash, there's an extra explosion that happens. That seems like a really cool combo. We see various different versions of the explosive steps. Of course, the one we only see right now takes up 4 slots with, I assume, medium explosions, but we see one that takes up 2 slots, maybe smaller explosions, 7 slots, maybe just like 1 big explosion, who knows, I don't know. Really cool how we could probably combine and get some really cool combos with these abilities, you know. Next up, I want to talk about the cooldown reduced at the very bottom. This ability, we don't see a description for it, of course, but the way I think it works is it shortens the time before you could use the gadget again after already having used it once. So as we could see from the previous tweet, it mentioned that that the gadgets are you know, reset on a cooldown. So of course you use a gadget once and then you have to wait for a cooldown to be able to use it again. So you can't like constantly use it, nor is it something that works on like the amount of ink you have left. So this cooldown reduced ability might shorten that cooldown time. So for example, we could say the regular cooldown time is you use the gadget every 10 seconds. You use the splatchet once, you have to wait 10 seconds until you can use it again. You know, one of these cooldown abilities shortens that by like, I don't know, 4 seconds. So instead of having to wait those 10 seconds in between uses of the splatchet, it'll be 6 seconds depending on how many, you know, cooldown reduced abilities you have equipped, right? And then finally, victory cooldown kind of works the same way, but I feel like victory cooldown might work in a way where the more enemies you kill, the quicker your cooldown goes. So every time you kill like a regular chum, a small fry, or a Kohawk, right, it adds to that cooldown going quicker. So you are incentivized to continue killing enemies to make sure you are able to use your gadget again, like sooner, basically, right? So yeah, that is it for the abilities that we see from these tweets. One last thing I wanted to mention before moving on to the next tweet is that we never see any sub weapons, at least yet. Right, we haven't seen any proper uses of sub weapons we're used to in Splatoon games. You know, gadgets could very well be a more stronger and more like customizable replacement in Raiders. Something to change up the gameplay. I mean, this game is a spin-off at the end of the day, right? They need to kind of change something. It needs to vary compared to the main game. So keep in mind, maybe sub weapons are still here and we just have yet to see it. But I think it'd be cool that these gadgets are the replacement and, you know, kind of changes up the gameplay a little bit, you know? We'll have to wait and see for the full game. All right, next up, we have the post from April 24th, and it reads, "One member of Deep Cut will accompany you on raids by riding the bot. Not only will they shoot ink at foes, but they'll also provide support by launching you into the air or drilling into the ground." And next, it says, "Shiver, Fry, and Big Man have Showstopper abilities that have been passed down to them through their clans. Each of them will get out of the bot to unleash a powerful and flashy attack." So, in the trailer, we already did see Shiver and Master Mega's attack. We also see a bit of a Big Man's like little surfing attack. But in these tweets, we actually get a glimpse, nice little screenshot of what Fry's attack might be. And as you can see, it shows her with her eels. She has the little the flute where she summons the eels. From what this image shows, the way it could work, maybe it's similar to like the Tenna missiles. You know, you aim at a certain location and it just rains down eels or something like that. Or maybe we could see something similar to her boss fight in Splatoon 3's Hero Mode, Return of the Mammalians, where she did have a Tenna missile-like attack there with the eels, but she does have like 2 other like dances or like phases with the eels attack. So maybe we see like a mix of that. So instead of just being the Tenna missile attack, we're just raining down eels. Maybe that she like mixes in that like 3 dances or like phases she does with the eels. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. These set of tweets on April 24th didn't really have much new to talk about. Something I do want to mention though too is are these the only Showstopper moves that Shiver, Fry, and Big Man have, or could they have like extra little moves that vary? I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. The tweets from April 27th seem to focus on mechanic customizations, and they read, "In Splatoon Raiders, you'll play as a mechanic who was piloting D-Cut to their destination when the helicopter crash landed. Your ability to tinker with gadgets, equipment, and the ship will be key to this treasure hunt." And the next tweet reads, "Customize your mechanic to look however you want. There are lots of hairstyles and eyebrows to choose from, and of course, a big variety of eye colors, skin tones, and freckles too." Shoutouts to the freckles. So we finally see in these set of images from this day's tweets, we finally see the other hairstyles that were not shown in the trailer. Of course, we kind of just get this big collage of various different hairstyles, right? We finally see like the main Octoling hairstyle. As you can see, it's kind of like a side braid with, you know, some sort of seaweed tied around. Kind of reminds me of the Elite Octolings from Splatoon 1 and 2's hero modes, right? Nice little callback to that. We see this Octoling hair with I guess I think it's like a plastic bag being used as like a headband. I kind of like that one. That one's really cool. Of course, we see the other Inkling hairstyles as well. We see this Octoling kind of dread ones with the chains on it. Those are really cool. We see the Inkling one here at the bottom left here with like some sort of like rope hook thing on it, used as like a hair tie to keep the hair up. Really, really cool. We see the Inkling with the slick backed hair. Really cool hairstyles. I like it, and I like that the vibe it's going for is like using trash as like hair accessories. It's kind of funny, but it makes sense. You're on a deserted island, you make do with what you have, right? Just whatever trash is in the sea you find. But yeah, for me personally, I really like the new Octoling hairstyles, right? This little Octoling braid and the hair kind of like being pushed up with the plastic bag hairband, right? I also want to mention with this main Octoling hair with the, you know, the seaweed being like tied around into the hair. If you look at the colors, it kind of gradients from like the regular blue to like a very reddish and then almost like burnt at the tips, right? I wanted to mention how this kind of maybe symbolizes more of like a boiled look. You know, a way to eat octopus in real life is to like boil it, right? So compared to the main mechanics hairstyle we see in the bottom middle, right, where the tips are kind of like cooked, they're like dried up. Instead of being dried like the mechanic here, maybe it's more of like a boiled sense. So it's, you know, dried squid, boiled octopus, kind of a more cooked theme kind of going on with the hairstyle there. So pretty cool. So you can even see the tips there kind of like curl up, maybe how symbolizing how, you know, boiling an octopus tentacle kind of like makes it curl up a bit, you know. Kind of morbid to think about eating, but I mean, that's just how it is, right? We also finally see some other eyebrows. We finally see what the Octoling unibrow looks like, as you can see, being used with the Octoling that has the little plastic bag hairband, right? Or headband, rather. Now, something that I have been kind of, you know, focusing a lot. I've been looking at this image quite a bit, and could be a reason why I took so while with this video, and I swear it has made me go insane. So let me know if I'm actually insane or not for what I'm about to say. But maybe there are actually 5 eyebrow options instead of 4 that we see in the trailer. If we go back to the trailer when it's showing the customization options here, as you could see like the eyebrows, the main, I guess, feminine or Inkling girl eyebrows. You can see it on the little menu there. Same thing with the Inkling. They're like thicker compared to the female, right? The Inkling boy and Inkling girl, there's a difference. Same thing with Octoling. The Octolings, the females have like a thinner, smaller eyebrows, and then the Octolings have like a thicker, longer one. But if we, you know, speed up to like the main mechanic design we see in the same exact trailer that we have been seeing, they kind of have like just a thicker option. It's not as small. So as you can see, there's clearly a difference here, right? So we don't really see the options for, I guess, the feminine options, the Inkling girl options, or the Octoling girl options for that matter, for eyebrows. But later in the trailer, we do see the options for the male, right? The more masculine eyebrows. You can see we only see 4 though, right? We see the regular, like standard Inkling boy eyebrows, the thick, long ones. We see the variant that has like the cut up eyebrows, right? They keep the same shape, they keep the same size as like the standard, just like with cuts in them. We see this new type that's like bushy, messy eyebrows, right? This new option. And then of course we see the unibrow. Now, if we go back to the image from the tweet here, of course we see the new types, right? Again, the options we saw in the video are specifically for the male, the more masculine eyebrow options. Of course, you know, we see the unibrow at the top there. we see this new like bushy eyebrow style, right? And we see like the cut up version here. But this cut up eyebrow version is actually smaller than what we are shown in the trailer. As you can see, these are the masculine like cut up eyebrows, and what we see in this image is most likely the Inkling cut up eyebrows, right? Because they're smaller, they're more rounder compared to the masculine Inkling boy ones. And actually, we also see at the left here the new bushier, messier eyebrows for the Inkling girl, right? Right next to the Inkling boy. So you can see that there's a difference there too. I got to thinking, right? I swear I'm not insane. I don't know why we're talking about this so in depth, but this got me thinking, where are the standard eyebrows for the Inkling girl? The main character, you know, that we see is the mechanic, right? We even see like the main design for the mechanic here, bottom middle. She has always had these like very round, thick eyebrows. We actually have this option in Splatoon 3 for both the Inkling girls and Inkling boys, right? You could wear this. Is actually what my Inkling has in game, but you just can't see it because of the hairstyle. We see that, but we never see her with like the proper standard eyebrows, other than in the trailer here, where right before Fry kind of changes our hairstyle to like the ponytail that we're used to. We see like the standard thin round eyebrows, and then Fry immediately changes the hairstyle, and suddenly we also get like thicker eyebrows. Either there's that fifth option that's hiding, which is these like thick round eyebrows alongside the main like standard ones, or my new theory after like, you know, just staring at this image for so long is maybe the female, you know, Inklings and Octolings don't actually get the unibrow option, and instead they get this like round, thicker option, which is what we've been seeing the mechanic have, you know, in the two trailers, right? My own theory to think about this is, if you look at the Octoling girls at the top left and right here, of course the top right has that new hairstyle that kind of blocks the eyebrows, so you can't really see it too well. But if you look at it, they have two different eyebrows, the two ones at the top left and top right. They're both Inkling girls, you could tell by the little spike on their eye, compared to the other Octolings. For example, the one with the dreads here, they don't have that spike, the eyes are just round. So that's how you can kind of tell the difference with the Octolings. But yeah, the two female or feminine Octolings have different eyebrows at the top here, right? This one at the top right actually has an eyebrow that's in Splatoon 3, which are, I guess, the equivalent of these round, thick eyebrows that you could also find in Splatoon 3. But the one on the left, while it does kind of share, it seems big enough, as you can see, it kind of flares upward. And we actually see this eyebrow in the trailer here, right here, being used by also like a female Octoling or feminine Octoling. As you can see, it has like the flare up, like flares up, right? Now, you would assume that this is like that equivalent of the Inkling eyebrows here that are like bushier, but we actually see that like more messier, bushier eyebrows with this Octoling girl at the top middle, kind of next to the green Octoling here. Whereas you can see it's like more like very round, has like little bumps, right? So I assume that's the more bushier one. I'm not sure. Again, the Octoling at the top right kind of like it curves downward with the tips kind of like in the middle. Meanwhile, the one at the top left, they kind of flare up. The eyebrows kind of flare up like we see in the trailer here. I swear I'm not going insane. I feel like either the Inkling, the female Inklings and the Octolings, so like just the female options might get like an extra option. They might also get the unibrow, or their unibrow equivalent are these like thicker eyebrows, and the unibrows are exclusive to the male options. Why I'm talking about this, I don't know. I feel like I'm not going insane, right? Talking about this, there's clearly a difference here, right? I'm not looking too deep into this, right? I'm not going insane, right? You guys are with me, right? Right? Nintendo kind of screwed up. Maybe there's like an extra eyebrow. I swear, man. Like, dude, like seriously, like you look at this image, you see there's like differences. Please tell me I'm not going insane, guys. Oh my goodness. I need this game already. All right, now on to the final Twitter posts from April 28th, kind of going over the different areas and underground areas that we could explore. The tweets read, "We've found the Spearhalite Islands to be surprisingly vast and diverse, consisting of many different biomes and having an expansive underground. There are some traces of civilization as well. Could it have something to do with the Salmonids?" The next tweet reads, "On raids in Splatoon Raiders, you can find treasure chests that sometimes contain rare relics. Looks like getting stranded on these islands has its perks." Next, we have the final tweet here. "That's all the research on the Spearhalite Islands we've got for you so far. Rest assured, a lot more mystery awaits. Once we have more, you'll be the first to know." So the main things I want to talk about are from the first post right here of these talking about these areas. So let's get into it. So in these pictures, these first 4 pictures, we are shown a good variety of areas, as you can see, including a series first lava levels or lava areas, as you can see, which is really cool. So yeah, let's go through these pictures. First, I want to talk about the first one, of course. This seems to be like the first area we visit, and these areas do have names. So of course, like in the trailer, this could be the Erp Island we see in this clip, right? This is probably Erp Island. This is the first starting island we see. The moving on to the second picture, shows kind of like an underground area. From what we can see, the platform slash area arena thing reminds me kind of like the levels or like the little arenas from Side Order. But there could be more to this place. Maybe it's not just like this little small area like Side Order. Maybe there's just more, and this is just like one of the various platforms we jump to. Kind of like in the main hero modes from the other games. Moving on to the third image, we have what most people have been talking about, which is a lava area in Splatoon. Unlike the picture before, though, we see like very segmented areas, which are more akin to the hero modes from Splatoon 1 and 2, where, you know, you go through the one platform and then you super jump to this other area to like advance the level. So as you can see, we have this like main like arena area that seems to have like a Spearhalite shard in the middle. And of course, we see other areas here at the bottom and on the left, and in the far back on the left there, there's like another area, it seems. So this might be more similar to those levels that we are used to seeing with the floating platforms from like the Octarian bases in Splatoon 1 and 2, you know? And finally, the fourth picture is probably the most unique in terms of setting and maybe even lore implications. We're shown like a very industrial area. It's like a tunnel, like someone was mining here, right? Kind of it's a very different vibe than what we see in the other images, which feel more like ancient ruins, while this just seems very industrial. Suddenly it's like a suddenly industrial area, mining area, right? We see pipes, we see these steel girders that are like keeping the tunnel like up without it, you know, collapsing down. So really, really interesting. And if we look specifically at the level up ahead, it seems to be more of like a challenge score, something you might see in like Octo Expansion or Return of the Mammalians. As you can see, we see like rings that resemble like the squid rings we see in like the other hero modes as well. So really interesting. It's like a course. The little rings are like guiding us through this course. The platform we start on resembles a stove top burner with the deep cut bot, you know, being the kettle. It's really cool. It's like now that you see the bot in this position, you're like, oh yeah, that looks like a kettle, you know? It even has that the kettle where you pour the hot water out of at the back there. Really interesting how like the spawner is like a burner. And while on the topic of stovetop gas burners, if we look at the trailer and these images we've been seeing of the mechanic with the Inktank, we see that these Inktanks are actually the like gas stovetop burners themselves. So not only is this game kind of themed around salt, it's also themed around like just stovetop gas burners as well. Really, really interesting. I love the designs of the Inktanks, so I'm really looking forward to the various different Inktank designs. But all the ones we've seen in the trailer and in these images seem to resemble a stovetop gas burner in some way. So of course, the bot buddy that we get, the bot being the kettle itself, is really, really cool, you know? Now, the last thing I want to talk about is these relics images. The image shows relics we've collected from raiding. We see the same relic from the trailer, you know, the two-fisted salmonid, ready to throw hands, right? As you can see, the description says a sculpture that looks like it's ready to take on the world. What do you think it's fighting for? We see this same relic in the trailer, and that it gives us the ability mid-air jump. It also says equipable on all tanks. We see this in the trailer as well, which got me thinking, when it says equipable on all tanks, what if we could add like abilities to not just our gadgets, but to our ink tanks as well? So of course, we have abilities on the gadgets will help us attack differently, but maybe the ink tanks and their abilities kind of give us like different movement options. Again, like this one gives us a mid-air jump, like a double jump basically, right? You jump once, and then while you're in midair, you could jump again. That's probably what this does. Of course, at the bottom of the screen, we see like 2 other relics, but we have yet to know what they do. So, yeah. And of course, for now, that seems to be everything that we are shown on the tweet so far. Ever since this final April 28th tweet, we haven't seen any other tweets. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see more, whether we'll get more info, more just string of tweets from the Splatoon Twitter accounts as we get closer to the game's release. We'll just have to wait and see. So, you know, yeah, really, really cool. And looking forward to the game. Let me know what you guys think of these tweets. What are your thoughts on some of the gadgets and how they work? What do you guys think these new areas might be and their lore implication? Like, was this area actually made from the Salmonids or not? Who knows, right? Is this another ancient human thing, man-made area? We'll have to wait and see. So yeah, those are all the things I pretty much wanted to talk about in this video. You know, it's something very new that I've done. I mainly just stream stuff, so, you know. And when we talk about news, I kind of just ramble and yap about it on stream. I wanted to try, you know, writing down some notes on these actual news and actually have proper talking points instead of just mindlessly yap and rabble about things, probably incoherently. So I was hoping to kind of make things a bit more cohesive this time around, you know. But yeah, if you guys have any feedback, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, of course, like the video. It would really help me out. And yeah, subscribe if you want to continue watching more of my Splatoon stuff. Of course, I mainly do Splatoon stuff, but I do like playing other games as well. But you know, I'm excited for Splatoon Raiders. If you clicked on this video, you probably are excited too. So we got like a month, not even a month. We have 2 months left still until the game comes out. So in the meantime, why not come and hang out during my streams, you know? We'll see what other news will come down the Twitter spillway, if you will. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and hope to see you in a future stream of mine, and hopefully more videos to come later this year as well. But with that said, that will be it for this video today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and of course, as usual, please have yourselves a damn good one.